The next story I want to do, I'm gonna share my screen. It's from Mundo Weiss. OBGYN talks about what she see in Gaza, man. Like it's very benign, man. Um, like yeah. So for Mundo Weiss, it says my story as an OBGYN in Gaza revealed the truth of the Gaza genocide. Um, I am Dr. Ari Hajiz, an obstetrician and gynecologist. Before the October 2023 war, I worked at Al Shifa Medical Complex in Gaza, and now I work at the um, Emirati Hospital in Rafah. In this article, I will discuss my experience as an obstetrician and gynecologist during the Gaza genocide. The war began while I was on duty in the obstetrics department at the Al Shifa Medical Complex. I remember the fear of faces of most patients as they suffer from labor pains amid the sound of missiles. Pregnant women are hidden victims in this war. I worked at Al Shifa for a month during the war, and then my work was transferred to Al Hilo International Hospital due to a large number of injured people. Al Shifa's maternity building was converted to a building for the wounded and injured of the war. On November 1st, I was working at Al Hilu. I was taking a break in the emergency room after an exhausting shift. Soon the thunderous sound of relentless shelling startled me awake. Israeli tanks were bombarding the hospital and its surroundings, targeting the fifth floor, which is where all the cases from Al Shifa's um, ob- obstetrics department had been transferred to. Fear gripped me. Everyone was in a state of panic, rushing outside. Pregnant women and patients still attached to IV fluids. Oh my God, man! And then those IV fluids, then you pull off, y'all know, pull off their needles and stuff. You probably go. Oh my God! And urinary catheters were fleeing barefoot. Lord have mercy and sheer terror. In that instance, I comprehended the extent of devastation Israel planned to inflict upon us. It was then that I resolved to move south to safeguard my life and the lives of my family. My God. I was displaced to Khan Yunis and worked at Nasir Medical Hospital. Then in January, I moved to Rafah to work at the Emirati Hospital. If I'm getting these words wrong, guys, I apologize. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, where I have stayed until now. Um, my patient stories. There are many patients that I remember along the way. One patient I will never forget is Shahid Al Quartati, 20 years old, even though it had been my entire year since I treated her. She had been transferred from the trauma department to check on her fetus due to a lack of movement. I will never forget her face on that day. A young, beautiful, calm girl in a state of total shock. She had fallen from the third floor of her house after a missile hit it. This had led to the martyrdom of her husband. Lord have mercy. They had only been married for a few months. One of her legs were amputated, and her other three limbs were broken. Now she needed a a cesarean section, C-section, due to the loss of her fetus in her 6 month. Shahid was forced to suffer the pain of loss and the pain of the C-section together. Um, wow. This is sad, man. I also remember a patient, MA, a 19-year-old who I cared for when she was in her 2nd month of pregnancy. She came to the maternity reception accompanied by her father and sister suffering from a high fever and vaginal bleeding. Due to the dangerous situation in northern Gaza, she could not come earlier. She came to the maternal reception at the Al Shifa complex on that day our apartment was being transferred. If the hospital wasn't didn't get destroyed, she probably would have got the treatment she deserved. Oh boy. Her condition required intensive care as she was diagnosed with a aseptic abortion. There were no intensive care beds available as they were filled with war injuries. She was transferred to a hospital without intensive care and she died within 24 hours. I remember her as if I was with her yesterday. it was her first pregnancy. Lord have mercy. So if she got the care quicker, she'll probably still be living. But oh, see, Israel's playing like, yeah, let's go out to the hospitals. Yeah, so I don't want these motherfuckers. That was Israel saying, I don't want these Palestinians to survive. I want to ethnically cleanse. Like that's why we say ethnic cleansing. This is what it is. As you can imagine, the genocide is complicating access to essential health care, which exacerbates the conditions faced by mothers and pregnant women. I am reminded of one of my recent patients, Salma, who came to the maternity reception last month. She has only one child and was hoping to give him a sibling. Salma told me she had missed 3 months of follow-up appointments because she had been repeatedly displaced during the ongoing genocidal war. She came to the hospital after not feeling any fetal movement in the last 24 hours. Tragically, the ultrasound scan revealed no fetal heartbeat, indicating that she had experienced a miscarriage. My God, man. It is just not. It is not just war. The war is killing the innocents. The effects of rockets, bombs, and toxic smoke in the air. Yes, inhaled by pregnant women led to many complications. The most significant of which is miscarriage. Yeah, that's a traumatic. That's a traumatic reaction to your body. Like you keep hearing fucking bombs and rockets and shit, and and the toxic smoke coming down. You hearing it, and you worried. The stress of your body causes you to have a miscarriage. Oh my God, man! Just last week during my conversation, one of my patients, MR, 27 years old. Man, these people are young too, man. 19, 27, like it's crazy. She told me that her first baby after 5 years of infertility, but her baby was martyred in this war at the age of 4 months. MR went through deep psychological trauma. Um, but soon became pregnant again. She came to the hospital because she was experiencing low abdominal pain and wanted to check on the fetus. I didn't know how to tell her that she had also lost her second. Oh my God! Before she was born, my God, man, this is so. Wow. Current conditions. Many doctors have refused to evacuate from north to the south and insisted on staying in the north to serve the patients there. The situation in the north is worse than in the south, especially in the Jabalia area, which suffers from daily massacres, artillery sharing, and sniper attacks on citizens up until today. Pregnant women in northern Gaza have been attempting to access Kamal Adwan Hospital and now Abda Hospital, but with the intensified bombardment, parental care is most non-existent. And reaching health facilities is extremely difficult. Yes, in many cases, pregnant women who need to go a C-section are refusing to stay in the hospital, even overnight, because hospitals and their surroundings have been repeatedly targeted by Israeli aggression. Many choose to attempt to recover in overcrowded schools that lack basic living necessities out of fear of their lives. With the continuation of the Israeli aggression and the closure of the Rafah crossings, hospitals and health clinics are suffering from a shortage of medicines and a scarcity of sanitary pads. Currently, despite the necessity of all women, their price has doubled or even more. So bad enough. They're treating the people that have been hit by weapons or hit by shrapnel or hit by any kind of bullets too. And then so if you pregnant and you have complications in your pregnancy, it's not a good sign. The significant increase in the use of contraceptive pills, which are no longer available in the UNRWA centers or pharmacies, coupled with the closure of the Rafah border crossings, is exacerbating the humanitarian disaster. It says the situation in Gaza is indeed appalling. The collapse of medical institutions and the increase of pregnancy complications due to ongoing effects is alarming. The rise in cases of gestational diabetes, pregnancy hypertension, early miscarriage, fatal deformities, premature placental separation, uterine rupture, postpartum hemorrhage, even postpartum depression are clear indicators of the severe impact on maternal health. The absence of health education system to teach women further complicates matters. And this last, although these factors are not communicated in the numbers of statistics shared about the war, there are all realities that communicate about the horrific truth of the Gaza genocide. So yeah, the reality of the Gaza genocide is, even if you're a woman and you're trying to have a baby during the war, most likely, there's a good chance that it won't be a good experience. You know, the baby might die. Like that article says, the just the traumatic stress of hearing fucking rockets and missiles shit go off, causing people to have having miscarriages, and they ain't got access to sanitary pads, and and they bombing hospitals as well. Like she had to move from Al Shara to that other hospital in Rafah because Israel bombed hospitals. So yeah, y'all. Reading this stuff is, I gotta read it. Like, people need to know about what's going on. Like, people need to know for people that's actually in Gaza, not for me, not for them talking head guy like me. People that actually on the ground reporting, and also to, don't go to Newsweek or the Wall Street Journal and all these other New York Times, because they're not going to tell you this. They don't want to tell you this. They don't care. Now, if this was Israel going through this, well, Israel is a mad dish. I'm just saying, like, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, they'll report it, but because it's Palestinian or people are suffering, they don't give a fuck. It's so unfortunate. So, on to the next story.